kicking off now. Shall we go with that, Carl? You ready?
Yeah.
Right. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I
Yeah,
know
good
that we
evening.
had subscribers, let's say, from various parts of the world. Majority of them, as we can see here, by the participants from India. My name is Eric Tomaszewski. I'm the managing director of Itoma Lux, and I founded this business in 2017. And again, you can see our team, let's say, on this first introductory slide. And the goal of this presentation is actually to present to you the solutions for property off-plan and on-plan sales. Basically, what we are doing, our brand promise is we build luxury property brands using our own property technology, combined with targeted public relations, advertising and marketing for off-plan and on-plan sales. So again, this is the goal of this webinar. Is going to be actually overview of various solutions. Now, taking it from there, a bit of housekeeping. What you've got, let's say, on the screen at the moment is, and what is being pointed to, is actually where you can, let's say, introduce yourself or eventually put any sort of questions. So that's where you can, let's say, have a chat and, let's say, put anything that comes to your mind while we are presenting. And this is going to be simply a team presentation by all of us in Itoma team to take it eventually from there. So, moving on, obviously any good meeting or any good webinar should be starting with the agenda. What are we going to be talking about? So we're going to firstly introduce ourselves, let's say, to show who is in the team and which regions do we cover as part of the team. Secondly, we're gonna, let's say, talk a bit about the current problems faced in property and real estate. And obviously the main thing here, as we can all imagine, and as it was already mentioned at the beginning of this meeting, is obviously COVID and all of the lockdown coming out of this and how it actually reflects the whole property market. Then we're going to be looking, let's say, at the principles behind, let's say, the solutions that we are presenting, just to understand, let's say, how this can help in the current situation to take it from there. Then value for property business, because it's not only about the sales, it's also about financing. It's also, let's say, about any sort of permits from the local government and so on. And then obviously we're going to be, just as obviously we are presenting here, we would like to say why Itoma could be a good partner for your business if you would decide to go, let's say, with us. And we're going to finish this session with a bit of Q&A in case you've got any questions, as well as networking to take it eventually to the next level, introduce ourselves in smaller groups and take it from there. So that would be very briefly our agenda for today. Now, first of all, obviously any good meeting starts with a bit of introduction. So starting with me and then going through the team. I'm Eric Tomaszewski, as I mentioned. I founded Itoma in 2017, but before that I had usual corporate path in large corporate organizations like Kimberly-Clark and Ocado. So everything, let's say, moving towards the property in Itoma, where we actually help, let's say, with the property sales and marketing. Now, we started actually as a 3D printing company, believe it or not, and here you can see our first product. So I'm basically the guy on the left-hand side of this picture, and in the middle is actually my bust, or let's say my figurine. So that was basically the first product that we have developed. But then we've seen, okay, actually property market is the biggest market in the world, and it's one of the least digitized together with the construction industries in the whole world. So that was basically our thinking about why we should go exactly into real estate and eventual elements of construction. So then we obviously moved on and started 3D printing, let's say, basic models of the houses. But then we've seen that this market isn't exactly as scalable because it's a physical product, and we focused exactly on the purely digital solutions for the property market to take it eventually from there. And that's exactly gonna be the goal and the description during this webinar. So taking it from there, starting, let's say, with the whole introduction of the whole team. I'm Eric, and again, I cover Europe and Middle East. I used to work in a number of countries, let's say all around the Europe. I speak a couple of European languages. Hence, I exactly covered this region, so you can speak with me if you are from Europe or Middle East region, and I'd be happy, let's say, to help you. Right, Carl, would you like to go next, please?
Thank you very much, Eric. Yeah, my name is Carl Marriott. I'm actually based also in London, or just outside London, in the UK. I don't speak any other languages, I'm afraid, which is everyone tells me off for. So I deal predominantly with North America and the UK, but anywhere else with English speaking, I'm more than happy to chop in. I've got basically a background in construction project management. And this sort of stuff was so phenomenal to me that I just had to jump in and get involved. So that's me. Anything in the UK or North America, give me a shout. Thank you very much. Over to you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Carl. My name is Jonathan Carlo. I want to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone that is joining us from across the world. I am the Director of Sales for Africa based in Lagos, Nigeria. I have had uh, long years in business development and public policy and now in research. So have any need within this region or the continent, just reach out and then we'll take it from there. Daria, to you.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Well, namaste to all of you, and hope you are having a wonderful day. And we are here to try to make it a bit better. First of all, thank you for joining the webinar. I am Dhairya Patel. I am a BITS Pilani pass out and have an expertise in business development since then. I basically look after Asian and Australian market for Itoma Lux. So if you have any queries from the mentioned region, I am your guy. Thank you. Back to you, Eric.
Right, thank you. So again, we cover basically all of the world if it goes geographically, and then we've got also some other representatives in the specific territories if you would like to speak with us. Right, now, there's gonna be, let's say, I've prepared this webinar in majority of part, let's say, and obviously everyone in the team has different webinars they specialize in. So I'm gonna be probably the main person, let's say, so you're gonna be hearing from me the most today. But let's start with the big picture. What are off-plan and on-plan solutions? So we've got, let's say, this distinction. Off-plan solutions is what we call properties before they are constructed, just to have, let's say, vocabulary right in the first place. So we are dealing here mostly with property developers and the value chain, like architects, consultants, and so on. But then we've also got on-plan markets. So that's the existing properties or secondary market, as we call it. And that's exactly the second type of, let's say, stakeholders, where we are dealing mostly with real estate agents, brokers, and realtors to take it to the next level. And we mentioned that because we're going to be referring to this throughout this webinar. So that's basically the big picture, the structure for it. Now, moving on from here, let's take a look at the main problems that we actually find, let's say, currently in the industry from the conversations with our customers. And again, you can put, let's say, anything in a chat if you believe, we haven't covered anything or you would like us to refer to something specifically. First of all, property. Why? Being the biggest industry in the world, it's also one of the most illiquid ones. So it's, when you hold the property, yes, there is certain value, but before you actually sell it, before you proceed, let's say, with sales, this cash is tied up in it. So that's one of the problems that we aim to solve. Second one is disconnected customer base. So again, as an example, India, the country of approximately 1.4 billion people, there is also, on top of that, approximately 40 million non-resident Indians that can eventually become your customers if you decide to target it. Hence, we position ourselves internationally to help exactly target various customer groups with various solutions that we have and we're going to be presenting here today. And then the third one, and obviously that's what's on everyone's mind, is lockdown. So either no or at least limited property viewings. And that's exactly where the technology that is remote and global helps. And that's exactly our focus and one of the points I hope that after this webinar you're going to associate us with. So moving on, let's say from this slide, What is our strategy? So again, every business needs to specialize in something and build a brand for it. And that's exactly what we try to do. Today, we want to focus on property technology for off-plan and on-plan sales, brand building, and lockdown mitigation. But for example, next week, we've got, let's say, the webinar for the investors and investor deals where we focus on the deals that we are sourcing, promoting, and so on. But today, everything is going to be about property technology as the main part of the strategy for the markets that we are dealing with. So moving on the next slide, you can see basically the main customer groups that we are dealing with. First one are property developers, consultants, and architects. And as rightly mentioned before, we basically deal here mostly on the off-plan market before property is actually constructed with these particular stakeholders. And then you're gonna see the solutions eventually that help exactly in these relationships. But then on the other hand, we've also got real estate agents, brokers, and realtors, where actually we are dealing mostly, let's say, with the on-plan solutions and partially off-plan. Hopefully that makes sense at this stage, because we will try to refer to it to build some structure throughout this webinar, as this should be, let's say, both educational and eventually bringing some elements of the big picture where the solutions actually sit. So now, for the next part, I would like to invite our friend Jonathan to talk us a bit about the principle behind our solutions. Jonathan, up to you, please.
Thank you, Eric. The principle behind our solutions actually is that we conceive, when we talk about this off plan, we conceive these properties before they are actually constructed. When you look at the screen, you'll find that there are four sets of pictures. Why the top ones are visualizations that are produced 6 months or 12 months or even 24 months before the actual building is started or the property development is started. And when you compare that with the real pictures that are down when the property are already constructed. So we visualize your project before they come alive. Again, when it comes to what we do, there's value that we add to whatever you are doing, to your project. One of it is that the sales keep stumbling in. That's we help you to ensure that there's business top line, sales increase. But with our solution, you are going to be running in these sales as you use our solutions. Again, one of the other values that we deliver is that there's the early customer feedback from what we share with you. It gets you to understand what your customers really want and what you need to do to engage them better. And then we produce content for you as a developer or a realtor or estate agent or an investor. We develop content that you will share with your sales network and others that you have as stakeholders that will enable you to increase your top line. Now there's our four most popular solutions that we have got. When you look at that, there's exterior animation, there's interior animation, and then there's 4D and drone video. That these are specific to us actually, especially the drone video. There is on top visualization that is best for land sales and the TV commercials that you need from us. This exterior visualization helps you helps your client to understand the structure or the development as you carry on with it, and including the interior as it is also developed. Yes, please. We'll
Move on.
Yeah, please.
Okay, let's move on. So,
Move on, please.
so now I'm gonna be taking over, let's say, from Jonathan. And again, you could see the four most popular solutions. Also, let's say, two very specific to us, which are 4D animations and video on top of drone. So this is something, let's say, that is very, very specific to us. And you might have seen some of them actually in some TV shows like Million Dollar Homes or, let's say, Extreme Makeover, especially this 4D that has been produced exactly for TV shows. Now, moving on. Let's say our approach. So again, we've got a consulting approach if it goes about the projects, and all of these solutions that you can see here with us today follow the same path. So we try to, let's say, take your development and look at different stages of customer journey. And the first one is even before, let's say, your customer has seen what you're doing and your development is the awareness. So how can we actually catch the attention of your potential customer to take it to the next level? So that's step number one. Step number two is interest. How can we actually, let's say, move the sales process so your customer is gonna get interested and is gonna want to inquire with your sales team in the next stage, which is consideration. And then finally, when we look through all of this, the main final goal of everything that we are doing is eventually the purchase or the investment in case of, let's say, investors, or getting the permits for your development basically from the local municipality and so on. So that's the end goal of everything that we are doing with our consulting approach. Now, moving on from this slide, let's take a look at, let's say, the first couple of solutions. And again, this is this educational part presenting what are the possibilities for eventually your business. So the first on-plan solutions is what we call virtual furnishing. So here you can see, let's say, a pair of pictures. The smaller one is actually completely unfurnished picture that we've got from the customer, and the top one is actually, something that has been virtually furnished, which, based on the case studies of over 4,000 customers that we had, basically increases the value and the number of viewings and the speed cycle of your sales of this on plan, so existing property. And that means that you don't need to actually furnish it physically straight away. You can provide different options. So that's point number one. Point number two, let's say the second solution for the on-plan sales is what we call virtual styling. Here you might have an existing space that is already furnished, but then you want to provide your customer with a number of options, let's say, what is actually how this could be looking when it's furnished, what are the options, how can we provide different interior design and take it actually from there. So that's the interior virtual styling, and then we've got the exterior one. So again, a simple picture that might have been taken in less than favorable conditions, simply to beautify it and present to your customers to eventually take it from there. So these are the first step of on-plan solutions, and then the final one is what we call 3D bird eye views. So the very popular approach in the property industry is that we've got the floor plan. But floor plan doesn't show us practically anything but some, flat, completely unimaginable elements. So what we do, and again, these are quite basic solutions. We're gonna go, let's say, to more sophisticated one during this webinar. So the main goal here is actually, instead of presenting a flat floor plan, to present, let's say, the whole, everything, how it's gonna be furnished in 3D, so your customer can get an idea. I like this space. This is how it's gonna be looking like, and so on. So this is the first set of 4 different solutions: virtual styling, interior and exterior, virtual furnishing, and 3D bird eye views. So moving on from there, here is a very short, I think, 2 minutes video presenting these solutions. Carl, if you can just play it. And again, this eventually presents, let's say, your customers and you with the options, especially in this initial stages that we call actually the awareness. So this is where you try to catch the customer attention before actually they spoke with you, and that's exactly the goal of this very simple solutions that we've got, let's say, under our belt, that are quite popular especially with real estate agents, brokers, and realtors. And that's exactly the overview of them on this 2 minutes video to provide how this could be, let's say, presented to your customers. Again, main goal here is beautifying this space, providing the options, visual sign-off, which means no extra costs, as well as upsells to your customers, because if you can fit it out or if you can sell it faster, those are tangible benefits for your business in the first place. But if you've got any questions, obviously we are happy to answer it and let's say take it from there on the particular business cases from the actual customers. Right, let's move on to the next slide, and here is what you're gonna see basically. Here is an exact, let's say, presentation from one of our customers. What you've got here is a simple Facebook ad. Yes, as simple as that. What you've got on the left hand side is how the picture of the actual space has been taken. Now answer yourself, would you be interested in this space on the left hand side, or would you rather go and contact, let's say, a seller, or let's say a rental company that presents this property like it is on the right hand side picture, because that's exactly the value for the customers. Okay, and the right hand side picture is actually done using virtual styling. Right, moving on. So hopefully you get the overview of what on-plan solutions are about. Now we would like to present, let's say, the second type of solution, which is public relations and advertising. So here what we've got, basically, we write an article. Carl, if you can click once. We write an article about your business. So obviously that's the content copy that is going to be about your development or about your property, which is then distributed to digital outlets in your target territory. And that doesn't have to be, let's say, I've got my development in New Delhi. I don't need to simply target New Delhi. That could be, let's say, customers internationally. Say, non-resident Indians that might be interested in my New Delhi development because that's my target customer persona. So that's distributed to digital outlets and then taking it from there. These public relations combined with advertising, we provide here a guarantee of 40,000 plus views of your property or development. Or let's say through this article of course, which is gonna tell you exactly where people are finding you, where these ads are being clicked, what is actually happening there. So this is another different types of product where actually perhaps these on-plan solutions could be utilized to write this article, like you've got the example about our business on the left-hand side here. And again, we've got different examples. We can advertise on Indian portals. We can advertise, let's say, on UK portals, plus distribute these articles written specifically about your development. Now, moving on from this one, and hopefully that makes sense, if it goes about the value that we deliver on top of top line or the sales that Jonathan tried to describe with the example of our 4 most popular solutions, a very big part in the property is obviously return on investment, because any investment should bring, let's say, a couple times more return on it than actually it costs. All right, so that's basically the principle here, to which we're going to come with an example in a second. Second thing is the property valuation. Basically the solutions that we are building, if you can actually over time reach the luxury brand that customers might associate you with. As an example, perhaps you know the company called Damak. Yes, and again, it's quite popular from our research in all major territories where we are present, which is Middle East, because that's Dubai-based company, India, as well as London, where they've also got some developments. So if you can build this luxury brand in the minds of your customer, that obviously brings this extra property valuation. That's the second element of the value that we aim to deliver. Now, the third one and the final element is cash flow. So again, if you can, let's say, especially for property developers that need to invest quite large money up front before they see this return on investment, if you can increase this cash flow, that means that basically they don't need to borrow that much money from the financing institutions, from the banks, and there are certain implications which we're going to be presenting exactly on the next couple of slides. So Carl, can we move to, let's say, representative example of the ROI and the cash flow implication? And again, this is just an example from one of our customers, and we could present something very specific to your property or your development. But say you have a nice development, say it's only 10 units, as it was for this customer, and the average cost per unit is approximately $400,000. Again, that was actually UK customers, and obviously the prices were in dollars, sorry, in pounds, but we converted it, let's say, for the universality of this example. So the GDV, gross development value, 10 units times 400,000 means 4 million GDV. So that's the big picture. But then obviously to develop something like this, you need to finance it. You need to have this cash flow to develop it. For 10 units, that could be, let's say, $2.5 million to actually build them, market them, sell them, and so on. Now, what does it mean? What are the implications here? So for example, it would cost, if you can click, 8 to 15% per year. And again, in India, that could be higher. In, let's say, US, that could be a bit lower. Let's take 12% for the sake of this example. Then it would take usually 12 to 24 months. Again, let's take 18 months for this example. That would mean that on this borrowing of $2.5 million, the customer, the property developer, had to repay $2.74 million. Okay? So that would also mean that there is a margin eating, let's say, interest of almost $250,000 on this loan of $2.5 million. And hopefully you follow up, let's say, on this one. Again, we are very happy to explain that in more depth when we actually speak, let's say, with you and present, let's say, a proper example for your development or your property in case of Onplan. Now, how our solutions actually, let's say, help? Say that out of these 10 units, we help to sell a single one unit at $400,000 before, on off plan, so before it's actually constructed, quite early. That means that now instead of $2.5 million, you need 2.5 minus 400,000, 2.1 million to borrow to develop this actual development. Now, what are the implications here? Carl, if you can click, it also means repayment of 2,305,000, and then on as the next step, interest, instead of being, let's say, 244,000, is now 205,000. Okay? Hopefully you still follow up on this. I understand there is a lot of numbers, but the big picture is, because we helped pre-sell this unit, and obviously that could be, let's say, 2, that could be 3, 4, 5 units. And again, there's a lot of, let's say, off-plan sales. Just on a single unit sale, that would mean that instead of interest of 245,000, we basically, the interest is 205,000, so we save straight away $39,000 for this particular customer. And that would mean that basically, based on the usual costing of our solutions, that would give at least 5x return on investment for this particular case. And that's only on the money side. Plus there is a goodwill. Plus there are other elements that customer benefited from, like data, what the customers are looking for, like extra exposure, and so on. So that's exactly the business case and the ROI. And and let's say this is a tiny development, only 10 units, but this is simply for the representative example that hopefully it's not so hard to understand. But I would strongly recommend to spend some time with me and our team to eventually understand it for your either off-plan, in case you are a property developer, or on-plan properties, in case you are a real estate agent, because that would be a different business case to what we actually presented here. Okay, so again, I strongly recommend that actually you spend some time with us, and we could actually look through our consultative approach how we can tangibly help you with your cash flow, ROI, and the main point, the sales. Right, taking it from there, I think now I'm passing the baton to Carl. Is that right on the next slide?
That's true, that's me, yep.
Let's take it from there, Carl.
Thank you very much, Eric. Okay, I hope that all that made sense. And again, just to reiterate, if any questions on those numbers, they're very basic generic numbers, but if the concepts are the same, hopefully it makes some sense to everyone. Okay, back to what we do. Oh, we didn't get that in out of the way. We tried, didn't we, beforehand? It didn't work quite well when it came over.
It was right on my computer.
It's me. I'm on a Mac, everyone, I'm afraid, so sometimes it comes a bit different, so I apologise for that. So basically, the journey from start to finish of what we can do for you is we start with property conceptualization. We are not architects, but we can basically get you ahead of the game with an architect. If you're working with planning permissions, etc., and that's actually the next one, working on planning applications, we can do a property conceptualization images or videos ahead of going to planning. It makes it a lot easier, a lot quicker, a lot more straightforward to get through that planning, to get everyone to see exactly what they're going to get. They can then come back, if there are any changes, we can make it before the architect gets involved, and those costs really mount up. And obviously then an architect can do an exact representation based on kind of what we've produced. But we're not architects, we're not replacing architects, we work with architects, but we're a great place to get in there before them, before they start doing too many technical things, especially for planning. And again, of course, investor presentations. Again, we just talked about needing finance money long before you kind of break ground, as we call it in the UK, before you sort of dig your first foundation or footing. You need to get investors in place, and whether that's a bank or private finance, but by using the sort of conceptualization drawings that we produce or videos, we can absolutely make that so much easier and smoother. It'll make you as a developer look, much more kind of professional, and a lot more luxury is the word we use quite a lot, to show them exactly what's going on, get you that money ahead of time. These are a couple of sites that we've done before. Just want to go through. These are all based in the UK. So this is Paramount Developments. That is actually the image you're watching on that drone footage, if you saw when we saw the 4 images. And again, the Springboard Homes, we said 10, but actually I think it was 36 units, I think it was. In that unit, that's the images we're using for the ROI calculator, just to give you some things that you can go and look at if you want to in the UK, just to show you what we've done before. Homes by Maple, just a lovely little site again, which we did some work on. And this is actually something that hasn't happened yet. It's actually really early stages still. Thanet is an area in southeast England, in Kent, where they're looking to do part of the seafront. We call it seafront. It's not really seafront. It's actually on the river, technically, the River Thames estuary. But they're looking to redo all that seafront area, and it's a fantastic project. And that's been going through planning for quite a while, backwards and forwards. And we've done some work with them. So really good to have a look at and just show you what things that we can do sort of within Facebook. And again, here's a good point to bring you to our attention to our YouTube and LinkedIn channels, where most of our things you can actually sort of visualize and get a feel for are available. I think probably most of you came through LinkedIn anyway. Moving forward, so again, luxury brand building, I mentioned it beforehand, just making you appear more of a luxury brand gives you more kudos. It gets you those better prices, it gets you those better investors. It just all makes sense. So investing a little bit of money ahead of time, it reaps it back tenfold. Again, the whole point of our products, basically you can see them anywhere in the world. They are developed, to be sent anywhere there's a laptop, basically anywhere there's an internet connection, we can present. So that's exactly the point, and it just makes so much more sense, especially what's been going on the last year or so. Really has helped business for us. Sorry for all the people who didn't make it, but it's been good for us. And site management, this is something that really came off the back of it a little bit, really, something we were not quite expecting so much. But with COVID in place and other things, we actually ended up doing a lot more work on well, we're overloading site management, but basically, I'll show you this next slide here. This is Bloomberg. It's the news agency based in Canary Wharf in London. It's a huge building. The picture on the right is the auditorium where they present a lot of things. Obviously, it's full there. Sadly, hasn't been full for the last year or so. Hopefully, things are going to get back to that soon. But when it first sort of kicked off, we produced these 3D bird's eye views, which we also call ISO views, because that's kind of the angle view. And we ended up producing lots of drawings. Again, you can see the little arrows and the coloured parts. There's quite a few drawings we produced, which show basically the movement of people and the movement of products in and off the stage at certain times, and without passing people backwards and forwards. So again, we've done other bits and pieces with clients. When we already have the drawings in place, we just basically managed to overlay that with certain information. It gives a really clear view of what you can and can't do on site. And as much as I'd like to say it goes back to normal, I don't think it'll be a full normal. I always think there's going to be a little bit of something in place these days to minimise people in the same place, and even from a risk perspective of actual large pieces of furniture, etc., it just kind of makes sense. So this is just something that really worked well for that. It was a little bit of a kind of byproduct of something we hadn't really planned for. It just worked out well. Daria, I think it's actually now over to you to look at our value for lockdown.
Thank you so much. So people, how exactly are you doing? I hope you are all well and you are not getting bored. We are here. We will try as much as you want. We can have a conversation if you want. Also, write any questions you have in the chat. Now, what are the values that we offer for lockdown? So what do we have for the most recent and the current situation during the times of COVID that includes lockdown and the restrictions? So the main question you would have is what we do. So we enable global and remote property sales and marketing, and we prepare all of our solutions without any sort of physical elements. So we don't need any fancy 3D cameras, mobile phones. We don't need anything but the software we have and the skills of our people put together that creates the solution that can be delivered anywhere in the world without the need to visit the property. And that exactly is the beauty and the value we deliver in the current circumstances. And that's exactly how we position ourselves and our business to take it to the next level. Now, talking about our other solutions, you have been through some of our solutions. Now talking about our premium solutions, here we have got an example of augmented reality. Well, you already know that virtual reality is growing at a rate of 40% year on year, and augmented reality is actually growing at a rate of 80% year on year. Hence, it is one of the fastest growing technology sectors in the world. Now, based on an actual object, as we can, so here are the images that you can see. It is just a business card. Now moving on to the next slide, you will be able to see a video and it will explain you how exactly it works.
Have you ever wondered how you...
Sorry, go on, Daria. I wasn't sure if you want me to play the video. Go on, play.
Sure. So have you ever wondered that how you can stand out from the competition, engage your clients for longer, or how to give the memorable presentation? Well, the answer is augmented reality. Now imagine you are talking to a potential client. You gave him 30 seconds elevator pitch, or you had slightly longer conversation. And at some point of time, he or she would expect you to show him the latest project or the portfolio as the proof of the credibility. Now, if you are prepared for the meeting, well and good. But if not, you think that, but if it's someone you just met on a train or plane or while sipping a drink, obviously you wouldn't have a portfolio with you. Now, we are thinking of what exactly we can connect. So every business woman or man or woman, entrepreneur always has their mobile phone and also has their business card with them. So we combine this both of the aspect, and now you are seeing the view from the mobile camera phone. It's the screen recording and is pointed towards the business card. And when you bring it closer to the mobile camera, it is a 3D model that comes to life and it's attached to the business card. Now you can rotate it, look at it from the different angles, even look through the windows to get a 3D view and to see what exactly is inside. And you can also push the buttons on your phone or on the card to explore different layout plans. That is, hide furniture or see furniture and zoom in and out of the rooms. Now, as you have seen, this is highly flexible. You can customize it to your needs or your customer needs to capture the most important aspects of a project and sell it better. Well, based on the actual physical object, whether it is your business card, you can see the paper over here in which a floor plan is made, or is it your QR code on your website or your logo. We can assign it to any object that can be scanned by the phone. Now, you would have another question that, did you ever had a conversation that you thought afterwards, I wish I could explain them better what I meant, and he or she can look at it through my eyes, what I am dreaming or what I have planned for them. Now you think that why didn't I bring the portfolio, but then who carries that portfolio around hoping it would be useful in random conversations, right? So imagine now you can exchange business cards. He downloads the app, link to your card, and looks at it over and over again at his own time. And now as they would have seen the project plan, they would share this with their friends, and it's basically free marketing. And you should definitely try this augmented reality solution for yourself. You'll be able to see that what exactly it has to offer and how exactly does it work. So that was all about the augmented reality. Now moving to the next part, and specifically nowadays, it's all about giving your customer the extra touch, the better experience. How exactly do we achieve that? Virtual reality is the answer. As you can see over here, your customer doesn't need any $1,500 Oculus or HTC Vive glasses. All your valuable customer needs are an up-to-date mobile phone and a VR glass that you can send them, which only cost between $5 to $30. And you can ask them to visit your site where you will have this image, and you will be able, and they will be able to see the 3D image that your customer will load and have a 3D user experience of the property. Well, that's a very good touch point that you can give your customers who are not able to visit your property or any first touch point. Also, we provide customization options, as you can see on the bottom right corner, that there are different sofa furnishing options. Also, we have wall and dining table furnishing options and the rest. So the main benefits that this solution has to offer are it can be prepared even before the property is built and provide options to select from the materials, furnishing, colors, and design to generate upsell. And this is one step further from the normal virtual reality, and we call it basically Zoom for property. And what exactly do we mean by guided virtual tour or Zoom for property? He can play. It's actually you, your customers, your family and friends can see the property together at the very same time. It's like a Google Meets call where we are all able to see a single screen. In a similar way, Zoom for property is an aspect where we can all get together and see the property in 3D view. Now, we call it Zoom for property as it is in the same space at the same time, speak, listen, and discuss about property as if you are in the real environment. It also has the video call feature, and you can see the bot structure over there. And on face, you would have that video option. Now, this gives lively feature to present the property, and that's exactly the value we deliver to our customers. You can ask questions, answer them, and also point to the specific things exactly as if you were in the property and give a real life experience. Now, as you know that we have got a specific situation during the current and the previous year where we are restricted to travel due to COVID and lockdown. So we can deliver this solution for both existing and under construction properties. It means we can deliver it anywhere in the world. Your clients can be from UK, US, Australia, or any region from the world. Also, as it is about the business, to enable your sales, you look for something that can be delivered remotely along with the extra return on investment that it can provide. So as you can see on the screen, the elements are changing dynamically. So you can discuss about the furniture and interior requirements, give options to your customers, and they can buy it and procure it much ahead of the time and sign off the project without any misunderstanding as everything is visual. Now, obviously, we have this solution. If any one of you are interested in seeing this solution, you can message us after this webinar. We'll give you one-to-one demo of how exactly it looks in your laptop in a 3D view. Now, what benefits does this solution have to offer? First one is you can make a property walkthrough to anyone without going outside of the home. You can talk and see your potential customers and explain about all the elements of the physical environment in the digital space. While it's fully scalable, we can deliver it anywhere in the world. And the fourth, it also provides the option to customize and personalize the environment for the customer. so it can lead to upsell and the better sign off of the project. Now ask yourself that how much does it cost when customer asks for one thing and then they want to change when they finally see it. Well, here you can get the visual confirmation of what exactly are the furnishing requirements, or uh, kindly explain again on 27 slide. Um,
We're gonna go through this later on.
sure.
At the end.
At the end, we'll go through the 27 slide. Now, coming through one of our best and one of our best premium solutions, here we have got our most promising solution called Interactive Selector Tool. Well, it's a next generation property tool, not only for sales and marketing, but also for brand building. Well, okay, sure, Sheikh, we'll go forward with the 40th slide. You will be able to see the same in the current video. Well, here you can see a building in 3D where your customer can look at it from different angles. Your customer has the option to select as per their preferences. And these are the actual examples that we have built for our customer. You can agree with the customer, sign off and procure the project early. And this will help you with the better return on investment that Eric presented in the ROI calculator. Now we have got on the screen the gallery view where you will be able to see the property in the simplest terms, that are images, visualizations, videos and CGIs and so on. And you can see all the options at the bottom of the screen and directly select those from seeing in the 3D map. Now let's look at it from the different property levels. First was the gallery view as you have seen it. The next is surroundings. So here one can search for the specific requirement. So let's say I am a family man. I can see where I can send my children to school, the nearest shopping mart and the rest. If I am a couple, I can look for the entertainment and dining options. And we can customize and put this option according to your requirements to add the value to the property. And well, you can view it as a gallery view, surroundings view, amenities, and finally we have got the unit search that we'll be presenting. Now moving to the next level is the option for the local facilities that you have to offer to your customers. Well, the things included in the development like gym, swimming pool, parking, terrace, internal shopping malls, or what others you have in your society. Thus, your customer can identify the exact features and have a better understanding of your offerings and what exactly you have to offer. Now, the final level is unit search. Now, let's understand it by example. You want to buy shoes. You will go to some online website. You will search for maybe Nike 11 in number, black in color, and you will look at the options and select the best that's suitable for you. Similarly, here is the option where you can select the options. So let's say I want a 2 BHK and my budget is $300,000. You can put it in the filters that you can see at the bottom and see the available options in visuals as per your requirement. And it also has the added search filter of search surface area, orientation, and if those are available or not. Now, if you need any customization options, then definitely we can surely add them to the tool. And these are the four levels of the property that can give the added advantage and the luxury brand exposure to your property. Now, being the property developer, I know timing is the biggest concern, even more than costing, because if you delay on the timing, it would cost you a lot. Now, what if you could sign the project early before property is prepared? It will help you with cash flow and also in return on investment. And thus your customer can take a virtual tour and you can generate extra commercialization and extra business out of it. So sign off, customization and upsell are the three major parts that you get from here. Now moving further, so these were some of our best solutions that we have to offer, and we have nearly 20 of our solutions, out of which the major four we don't have very little or no competition in the international market. It's very specific to us. Now you would have questioned that how does it work for these guys at Itoma? So here we have got an example process. The first step is sort of a discovery call, the project brief, where let's say you say that I have got a development of 100 houses. I want to have a beautiful view from the top. Here are the cut drawings and I have got, but for the rest, it's still a concept. So I don't have anything. Then we say that we don't need anything to have the exact cut drawings for everything. It could just be the sketch, just to give us the idea that what are you thinking and how exactly you want. And we prepare our solutions according to the same. You review it if it matches your requirement. If not, we take your suggestions, review it again and give you again for the review. And we are going to correct it until you are satisfied and we give you the final product that you are wishing to have. So basically we customize our solutions for the every customer, and we are very approachable and everything can be discussed with us as we can find the solution as per our need and provide a very good quality solution. Now, here are one more example that we discussed about only residential properties before. So we also have this virtual furnishing and other on-plan parts for on-plan properties and commercial spaces. So you can see that it is unfurnished place and it's a furnished in the right option to get a better commercialization. Now, let's move to the customer example. So,
Well, just before we move to this one,
yes.
Daria, so again, the goal of the previous slide was actually that on the left-hand side, we had a picture provided by the customer and some description, let's say from him, can I get it furnished this way and this way? And then the picture on the right is actually how it has been furnished at the end of the day and what was the final result. And that's the main thing. We just need the picture and some basic description, and then we furnish it, as you can see, the end effect on the right-hand side. Right, back to you.
Thank you. So this is one of the customer example. Now getting to another customer example. As Carl mentioned about conceptualization, here is the customer example depicting the same. So what our customers had provided in the very first meeting are the just raw drawings on paper and what we have built. So it was a very basic description that it's a hotel project and here is a very basic drawing. Then customer provided us with the specification to be built and the photos of the similar type that Eric mentioned before. Type of the projects with the similar visuals that we could be using to conceptualize the property of this customer. And this way we arrive at the first concept that you can see right now, along with the basic drawing for the planning application. These are the basic drawing that you can see here exactly on the screen. And that's exactly what this technology we are using can help you. We can practically replace the first touch of the architect to help you conceptualize any construction project, whatever it can be. And that was the first meeting. And now let's look at the project in the full glory on the next slide, in the current video itself. So here is the finished project from the very basic requirement we received in the draft meeting. And basically this is a real project that we have done in the Caraco Island of Caribbean. And we arrived at this stuff where the hotel is presented in the full glory, exactly as the customer wanted it. It can be used for the investment presentation, customer attraction, and getting feedback from the potential customer in the form of investing or visiting this hotel and seeing what could be of their interest. Now, this is a real project, as I mentioned, on the Caraco Island of Caribbean. And we have done everything starting from the initial concept, going through the external visualizations and the interiors. And now, if the customer wants to look at a single house or bungalow as the next step of the project, that is going to be delivered with us. Now, it is almost a 5 minutes video presenting each and everything that is going to be there. It gives your potential stakeholder a clear and a better picture of what they are going to get when they visit or invest in your property. And that is the beauty of our solution. It's helped you with the customized conceptualization even before the architect has touched the project. And again, you can present it on one-to-one demo and take it from there whenever you wish. Now, being honest, we picked this example on purpose as it is the simplest and you can get a better understanding. Now, if you want to know what else can be prepared in the other cases, you can visit our YouTube portfolio and see the examples as Carl mentioned earlier. Now, thank you very much for being patient and listening to me. I hope it puts the better picture in the air, and I believe that these are our most promising solutions that we have got in our portfolio. Now, let's move on, and I will be passing it back to Eric for the final part of the presentation, where we'll be discussing about USPs, technologies, and talk a bit about Itoma. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot on this one. And again, I think the main point on the previous slide actually is that we have started with this project before architect has been involved. And again, that was one of the largest projects we've done up to date. So you can imagine, let's say this size hotel was approximately $10 million. and the architect would take up to 10%, let's say, of this value, depending again on the geography. Architect's fees are 5 to 12%, so between 500,000 up to 1.2 million would be spent on architecture. Why with us, that could be a fraction of this cost to get this visualization, to get this basic, initial concept to your stakeholders like investors, customers, as well as, let's say, local municipality to give you the permits and so on. And that's exactly the value that we delivered for this customer. Now, moving, let's say, finishing this presentation, very briefly, let's say, what are the USPs or what we really would like you to eventually remember from this presentation, eventually about our business, because we put some time and effort, let's say, to present the different solutions that can help with your customers in your property development or real estate agent or broker business. So now, if it goes about us, we position ourselves as A to Z supplier of quality, global and scalable solutions. Again, I'm gonna remind that our customer promise is we build luxury property brands for off-plan and on-plan property sales, marketing and brand building. So that's the starting point. And we've got this number of different solutions that help us exactly arrive there, inclusive of high growth solutions with augmented and virtual reality. That's point number one. Now, on the business side, what is quite specific to us, because it's not only about being, builder of beautiful presentations or visualizations. On the business side, we are very much business focused, which is going to be visible, let's say, on, I think, the next slide in a second. We put, let's say, the financial modeling for specific properties for our customer to see basically the full financial pictures and various business models. And we focus purely on two different types of property deals, which is exactly the purpose of the webinar. That is going to be taking place in a week time. If you would like to subscribe to that, that's on our Eventbrite page, and we're going to, let's say, come back to it in a second. Then from the connection of the technology, where we build, let's say, all of these solutions, and the business focus, we leverage these relationships where we provide the solutions to the market of property developers and real estate agents, brokers, and realtors, but at the same time, we source specific types of deals that, again, are going to be the subject of the webinar next week. And that's exactly our unique selling point on that. Now, moving on, let's say to the next slide. And again, there are two other pillars to our strategy where we focus on sourcing, promoting, and selling specific types of deals where we eventually want to speak with you if you've got them. These deals are guaranteed rental yield and monthly payment plans, and that's the purpose of the webinar. We're gonna be preparing and presenting next Tuesday, 8th of June, to which I very much welcome you, let's say, to subscribe and come with us on this journey. And if you go, so let's say, about this sort of business, as we can see on the next slide, basically we prepared the full financial modeling for different options for purchase, what could be the cash flow, what are your options, let's say, for the payment plan for the customers to eventually take it from there. And that's exactly, another of our USPs. But what I would like to eventually, this is the last, let's say, content slide. What I would like to actually make you remember about what we are doing and the solutions, and these are actually three main points, not two, my bad, I was preparing this presentation. We are A to Z supplier of property sales, marketing and brand building solutions for property developers and real estate agents, brokers and realtors. Second point, all of our solutions are global, remote and COVID proof because everything is digital and we don't need to visit this property. We can build the solutions even before property concept is done by architect. This is exactly pointing us to the third point, which is we can help with your off-plan development even before architect touch the project, which brings you, let's say, very big financial benefits in case you are a property developer. That's what we found, let's say, as the feedback from this market. So these are the three main points just for the very end. Now on the next slide, if we can, let's say, move to this call, please. So obviously now it's this Q&A and networking session. And obviously you can see we've got, let's say, the calendar full of webinars this month. Next Tuesday, we've got property deals with guaranteed rental yield and good payment plans. So again, I very much welcome you to participate on this with us. Then on 15th of June, we focus mostly on what are the best solutions for architects, or basically where they can find upsells while working with property developers. So that's what's coming on 15th of June. Then 22nd of June, we're going to be focusing on this solution that we call Zoom for Property. And that actually refers to the question from one of the participants here that was on slide 40, because that's exactly the webinar. I'm interested in slide 40 to see again. So that was exactly Zoom for Property. We don't need to go back to this, Carl. No worries. But again, that was exactly the Zoom for Property, let's say, solution, and that's the full webinar focusing exactly on it. So we're gonna be presenting, let's say, the live demo instead of, let's say, for 5 minutes. That's gonna be, let's say, a good 40 minutes, focusing what are the features, what are the benefits, what are the business elements that you can create wins for your business. So that's 22nd of June, but of course we're gonna be having this conversation in a second. And then 29th of June is the repeat of this webinar, because we organize it basically on the monthly basis for the educational and, let's say, market awareness purposes, because webinar is something that can really speak with people, it can be interactive and so on. Hence, this is a way to actually spread the awareness in the market as part of this brand building solution to take it eventually from there. So, on behalf of Itoma Lux, let's say thank you very much. Let's say obviously we're gonna come back now to these two questions, and we can have some free conversation, we can say. You can also check our portfolio as Itoma London on YouTube, LinkedIn, and so on, and then take it eventually from there. Now, coming back to these two questions that we had, whoever has asked them, could you actually maybe unmute yourself, please? I think that was Sheikh on one of them, on the slide 40 on Zoom for Property. And just, we could understand what were you looking for. Or Carl, could we actually move to this slide 40 now?
Yeah, I can do. I need to represent again. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, no problem.
Let me just find slide 40 while I'm at it. That's the Zoom for Property, yeah?
Yep.
Yes, it is
Thank
indeed.
you.
And then guided.
I'll turn it down. Oh, hang on. I clicked off it. There you go.
Sir, can you make full screen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Daria, do you want to take over once again? And I think Sheikh, probably both of your questions were coming from you. You can unmute yourself eventually and tell us what would you like to know actually, and what do you think of this webinar in its entirety?
Yeah, Eric, I wanted to tell you about this. I was missed out with 27th slide when we were explaining on that. So for that reason, I just put a question that could you please explain on 27. Anyways, as you told, the two things are available in LinkedIn as well and YouTube. So I'll go back and I'll check it out. But having said that, with your webinar, it's really fantastic and very helpful to us, where we can push, we can sell it easily the properties with showing the virtual tour. As you also mentioned that in the webinar that right now the virtual tour is going more on growth with AR and VR. So we are very much helpful. I can speak to management. I'll get back to you on that part.
Sure, sir. Yes, sir.
And anyways, Mr. Dharia is connected to my VP, so we can have a e-meet or a con call, so we can discuss further on that part.
Sure, definitely, yes, that would be helpful. Go on.
Yeah, after
Okay,
seeing
so
this,
I understand.
I was so excited and I was very impressed with your software and with your you have come up with, and you have helped a lot of realtors and developers to sell the properties with easily. Having said with builders also, they'll show the 2D plan, but comparing to builders plan and your technology, it's too great and very impressive. Congratulations on your product.
Thank you. Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you very much, Sheikh, for this. Again, we try to be positioned as A to Z supplier for this specific market, as a matter of fact. All right, let's take it from there. So I understand you're gonna be speaking with Daria on this particular solution offline, let's say. So you're gonna take it for a conversation, and then on slide 27, did you say that's gonna be exactly the same approach? So you can, let's say, review these financial numbers and take it from there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So again, thank you very much, let's say, for this, for participating with us. Again, we had approximately 200, I think, 20 subscribers. Usual numbers is, let's say, that 1 in 10 people actually come to this, because we've been organizing that, let's say, since the beginning of this year, as a matter of fact. So we know what to expect from this. So thanks again for joining us on this one. And again, we're gonna follow up with an email to you, so you could organize perhaps a meeting with us, together with the recording and the slides from this presentation. So whatever you need, you can always contact our team, either through WhatsApp, LinkedIn, and so on. And I believe we can help with any property needs you might have. Unless there is anything else, maybe you can introduce yourself, whoever wants to unmute. Otherwise, I think we can finish this presentation. So thanks again on behalf of whole Itoma Lux team, and have a good day then.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. Thank you, there, Patel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Take care all.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Uh,
So
Thank you.
if some of you are having any questions or anything, you can ask right now. Also, if you need, we'll be sending you the presentation. So after that too, you can ask us at that moment. We can organize one-to-one meeting.
Mr. Deria, good evening. This is Vinayak from Chennai.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, everyone. Good evening to all of you, whichever
evening.
part of the world you are in. Yeah.
Good
So,
evening.
my question is actually, I am a realtor in Chennai. So, how would your product be? See, every country or every city or even every city in a particular country has a different product or taste actually in
Right.
terms of furnishings and what you'll be providing inside. Because I am a realtor, I am not interested in the off-plan thing. I'm interested more on the on-plan
Right.
products of your company. So I just want to know how you would be, because see, I'll be sending you, or maybe whatever anybody XYZ who's interested in your product, they'll be sending you the snapshots or photos of the existing project, right?
Right.
So then you will be taking a 3D view and a bird's view of what it would be, or what you will envisage it to be with
Right.
furnishings, or maybe to
Yeah.
even show it as a video to people. So that is one question which I had. How will be area specific in terms of how, probably for a place like Chennai, I don't know about maybe how Bombay works, or how it works in Ahmedabad or Delhi. Because Chennai, if you take, see, you have very particular kind of a thing. People are looking at a specific puja room, a specific sort of area where the kitchen has to be, the specific
Right.
furnishings they require. So there are certain many aspects. See, definitely, Mr. Daria, being in India, definitely you will also be aware of all
Yeah.
those aspects. So
Yes.
that's the reason I want to know how you'll be designing your products for probably the local market or local sentiment.
Yes. Well, Vinayak, to answer your question exactly. So first of all, we have, let's say we are taking any virtual furnishing option. So we have options on our database also, which you can use. Apart from that, let's say that obviously if you go to Paris, that would be different furnishing option. If you are in Chennai, North India, or maybe Russia, or let's say Japan, there are different furnishing options. So what we help you with also is you can just send us the images as Eric mentioned in the commercial space that we virtually furnish. So you can send us the image or the photos of what furnishing will look best, and then we apply that to the particular image or the particular render or 3D model that you have. So we solve that particular question that you had in this particular direction. Also, Eric, would you like?
And thank
Yes.
you so much for your explanation. Just one more question I had, which I thought I'll just ask you also on that. See, the product that you'll be giving it to us, see that we can use it for in our marketing strategy also to our, to our customers, or how is it? Our vendor you will be marketing.
No,
on our
no.
behalf?
So we basically are a real estate sales and marketing solution provider. So we
Okay.
prepare all these solutions and then we provide it to you, and you can
Okay.
use it in your maybe website, your social media platform, or maybe
Or any portals that we advertise,
yes, yes,
basically.
yes. You can use it by any portal. We basically prepare the solution and hand it over to you, and then you can use it in any form that you wish.
Any marketing materials, website, brochures, portals, anything like that. That's basically, your final product. And again,
Yeah.
exactly as Daria has said, the best
Yeah.
thing, Vinayak,
Yeah.
would be eventually if you could send some pictures of,
Hmm.
let's say, your Chennai style, if I understand well where you're coming from, kitchens or other, let's say, rooms with the specific furnishing options, and then we could refer to it exactly saying, yes, we can do this, and that.
Okay.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Thank you.
Does it?
Thank you, Mr. Eric.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Vinayak,
Thank you
for
so
this
much.
question. Anything else we can help you with
Yeah.
eventually? Any other questions? Again, there's, I can see 7 or 8 of us, I think, together with me on this. So, you can unmute yourself in case you've got anything else we could discuss and help with. Otherwise, as I mentioned, we're gonna be following up with a personalized email, sending you the slides
Recording.
and the recording of this actual presentation. That's basically our standard practice because we try to be professional with everything that we are doing. And get get in touch with us if you can help with anything else, let's say in your property business, because that's exactly our goal, to help you.
Yes.
Okay, well, unless there is anything else, I think we're gonna be disconnecting. Otherwise, please unmute yourself and ask anything that might still, might need any sort of explanation.
Yeah, I just wanted to check that again. Like as Eric mentioned, anytime you can send the slide and the recording.
Yes.
Is it possible to share the via email, or I can download from the YouTube itself? When it
No,
be coming in the YouTube?
so we'll be sharing the links with you in the presentation itself in the PDF form, and you will have the link to our YouTube portfolios and the particular videos that you are able to see in the current presentation. So if you click on those links, you will be directed to our YouTube portfolio and the specific video that we mentioned in our presentation.
Okay, fine.
Uh, just one thing here for everyone to get this one. Uh, I hope you have registered with Eventbrite rather than LinkedIn, because LinkedIn doesn't exactly, uh, let's say, provide us with your email directly. So if you haven't registered with Eventbrite, but rather LinkedIn, and that's how you found us, if you can just drop your email in the chat window, and then we will be sure, let's say, to forward that to you and take it from there. Okay, that's just one last comment, because that's what we find, let's say, with LinkedIn registration, then they don't provide exact emails.
Thank you so much, Animesh.
Right, so thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, please feel invited eventually to our next webinars, which you can find, let's say, uh,
Eventbrite.
on our event website. I've just dropped that on the chat as the last thing before we actually disconnect. So I've just sent that, let's say, to all of you. Next week, we've got exactly this property deals. So we focus more on the business rather than technology side to take it from there. And that's exactly how we approach, the whole business. So thanks again. I'm going to be disconnecting us now. Thanks a lot
Thank you.
Thank you
for
so
being
much.
here with us.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, everyone. Sheikh, Annalie, Animesh, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Vinayak, thank you
Thanks.
so much, Vinayak.
Thank you.
See
Thank you
you
Bye-bye.
guys.
later.
Good
Good
night. Bye.
Bye.